It's Monday, which means today is the day that I'm answering your questions about copywriting, marketing, business building, sales, selling, and more. I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. And for this Mailbox Monday episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, I'm answering Zach's question. Zach says, I've started to reach out to financial publishers, less popular ones so far, to get my first copywriting project. My emails say I'm a new copywriter, but include a link to a sales letter I've written to show I'm competent. So far, I've been left on red. Not sure if I need to do more outreach or if I'm doing it wrong. Thanks, Zach. And I'll answer Zach's question. As far as I can tell without having read his email, there's kind of a big email marketing or cold email mistake that's going on here. And hopefully I'll be able to rectify it and give him some suggestions for what to do to make that effective. If you have a question you'd like to have answered in an upcoming episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, number one, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff so that you actually get the answer to your question. Number two, you submit your question by going to the link in the description that's at breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com/ask. That's breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com/ask. And you can submit your question to potentially have it answered. And let's dive into the answer to Zach's question. These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough. All right, before we dive in, the sponsor of today's episode is, let's see, who is it? Oh yeah, it's me. I have training called the Client Getting Blueprint. The link is in the description. Check it out. If you want to get clients using cold email, that training will actually show you exactly how. The Client Getting Blueprint, and it's built to work across client service businesses, across industries. It is the foundation of a successful client business. The link is in the description. Okay, let's talk about Zach's question. All right, the first thing that I'm observing here is that writers write, but that's a problem for cold outreach. So my guess here, Zach is a copywriter, and he wants to write long sales letters. Nothing wrong with that. I'm a copywriter. I've made my living writing long sales letters for a long time now. And my guess is that Zach's cold emails are probably actually pretty long. And I've done this and I've gotten clients with longer cold emails, but I'm sorry, these longer cold emails, longer cold outreaches can really be a turnoff. And I'll tell you why in a second. But what you need to know is that long copy absolutely has its place. If I am going to try to convert cold traffic to an offer and actually get cold traffic to spend money with me for the very first time, or if I have a complex offer, meaning the value proposition of whatever I'm selling, financial newsletters being a great example here, the value proposition of whatever I'm selling is fairly complex, I know that I need long copy in order to maximize conversions. In the context of cold emailing prospects for your services, even if your services is writing long copy sales letters for clients, long copy's place is not in those cold emails to get clients. What this brings me to is really the number one biggest cold email mistake, because long copy is actually, writing too long of an email is actually just a symptom. Writing too long of any kind of cold pitch to prospective clients is a symptom of this deeper problem, this biggest cold email mistake. And yeah, this applies to cold direct messages, DMs on social media. It applies to any kind of cold prospecting, and honestly, any kind of cold calling. And what it comes down to is overselling yourself, talking too much about you, what you want, what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to get, even what you are trying to do for them, what you're trying to sell to them. really like this mistake, like the mistake, if you are pitching yourself, your product, your service at all, you're probably overselling yourself in the first contact. If you are sending out messages and they are being read, I don't really love the whole email tracking thing, the email stalking, all those tools that, track whether somebody's opened it. Yeah, it makes sense in the context of mass emails, of sending to your email list. I really don't love them in the context of one-to-one emails. It feels really intrusive for salespeople to do that, and I feel like they're going to jump down my throat. And so I'm probably, if I see like the little, there's one service that has like two little blue check marks or something, and if I see that, I am actually less likely to respond to the email. That's, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's common across the board that people generally don't like that. That was a sidebar conversation. But let's go back to this issue, like overselling yourself, pitching yourself in that first email. Really, that's not what you need to be doing. And I'll tell you what you need to be doing in just a second here. But first, we have to talk about the yes, no, maybe filter. We have to talk about the yes, no, maybe filter. So there's really three ways that somebody can respond to any kind of message, right? They can respond yes, they can respond no, and they can respond maybe. And what you think you're doing by pitching your service, pitching yourself, pitching the benefits in this cold email to somebody who you don't know at all, what you think you're doing is trying to trigger the yes filter. You're trying to trigger the yes filter, saying, oh, yes, I want to work with this person. The reality is, in that first cold email or first cold message to any prospect, the reality is that it's impossible to trigger the yes filter. And when you're selling or even saying too much in that initial message, you are triggering the no filter. If you say too much, if you're overselling yourself, if you're just triggering the no filter, because no is our default filter for when we feel like we are being sold to. If we feel like we're being sold to, our natural reaction is to like pull in, to flee, to get away, to reject, to say no. What you want to do, what you want to be doing, is to trigger the maybe filter. You want that person to say, I want to know more. Responding to this person is easy. This person asked a question that I feel like I can answer pretty easily, and there's no obligation in answering it. You want them to feel like, okay, this person might be worth having a conversation with. It's a person emailing me, treating me like a person, and it's easy to respond to them, right? So what you actually need to do in your cold emails is, well, there's this little formula from Dean Jackson that I really appreciate and I think of often in this context. You want your cold emails to be short, personal, and expecting reply. Short, personal, and expecting reply. So short, typically like as short as a little personal message to a colleague, coworker asking about a project, right? Or to a friend asking about, do you have plans for Saturday night? If you're going to text a friend and say, hey, I was thinking about going out to this restaurant on Saturday with a couple friends. Would you be interested in coming along? That's short, personal, and expecting reply, right? So short, personal, really directed at that person, not this impersonal, like, let me tell you about my services, right? Let me show you my sales letter that you have not asked for, and you tell me that I'm qualified to work for you. That doesn't feel personal. That feels impersonal. And expecting reply is something like a question, right? It's something like a question. The best cold emails that I have that I've seen, that I've done, involve a question about them. They involve a question about the prospect related to their need, their desire, their want, their outcome, the problem, the challenge. Like if you solve a problem for them, if you help them fulfill whatever desire, get whatever outcome, it's going to be about that. And sometimes that can be very specific. Like in the case of a copywriter, if you're working inside the direct response industry, where it's all shorthand, like where copywriting as a word, I've talked about this before. Copywriting as a word is used as shorthand for somebody who does sales multiplied through media. Like it's somebody who understands how to write copy that generates business results, leads, customer sales, profits. And so if you were speaking to a direct response company and you say, do you work with newer copywriters? Then there's a lot there's a lot that's contained in that question that is about their need, desire, want, outcome, problem, challenge. If it is somebody who you're not sure if they use direct response, and let's say you write Facebook ads, it's what are you doing to keep up with Facebook's okay, this is a long and complex question. I want to break it down, but what are you doing to keep up with Facebook's constant demand for new ad creative? Or, how do you come up with new ad creative for Facebook? Something like that. How are you coming up with new ad creative for Facebook? Are you putting out as many new ads as you think you would like to do to be successful? So something like that. Like I see your advertising on Facebook. How are you coming up with new creative? Are you putting out as many ad tests as you think you need to be successful? That's a pretty good short personal expecting reply email, or I guess Facebook DM, to someone who is advertising on Facebook. So some examples for Zach specifically. Hey, do you ever work with newer copywriters? I saw you write. I saw you run these long form sales letters. Do you ever work with newer copywriters? Easy yes no question, right? And it might start a conversation. Do you have any overflow copywriting work? That's a different angle in. A lot of times these publishers that use long form sales letters, they hire their best copywriters to do the long form sales letters, but they have a ton of additional copywriting work, such as, Facebook ads or other space ads or advertorial landing pages or emails or whatever, right? That is considered overflow work that they don't want to pay their best copywriters high fees for that additional work. And so they need that done, and they may hire a newer copywriter for that. And you would have an opportunity to earn your way up into higher level projects. Another great question is, do you work with freelance copywriters or only in-house? Do you ever work with freelance copywriters or only in-house? Right? Like you're trying to establish how they typically work with copywriters. And the great thing is there's no real obligation in them responding to that and saying, oh, well, we sometimes work with the right freelancers. Are you a freelance copywriter? Something like that. Or, oh, we currently only work in-house, in which case you've maybe disqualified them as a prospect. Or you might say, do you offer, do you do remote work on retainer, or are any of your team members, doing remote? So I'm just diving down this rabbit hole of questions. Wherever these conversations go, we're asking questions to learn more about their current situation, right? So a full email, like I wrote this full email. Let's say I found this person, Jane, who's running the copywriting team at some publisher, right? Hi, Jane, I'm Roy. I'm a newer financial copywriter, and I've been following your marketing for a bit now. Quick question. Do you ever work with freelance copywriters or only in-house? Thanks, Roy. Very easy question to answer. I'm not trying to sell hard. I'm not trying to do really anything besides start a conversation, right? And your cold email is a success when you start conversations with the potential client. And by the way, like it's all about starting this conversation and having the conversation and having that conversation go down the path towards the outcome that you want to achieve, right? Never actually is that closing in email. You don't want to try to close services, close deals, close projects in your emails. You want to close your client services on calls, in conversation. You need to be able to have a conversation with them and say, okay, what What are we doing? Like, I have an entire formula that I use for these conversations that I'm not going to go into here, but you want to be able to get on these calls, get in conversations with prospective clients, and then you figure out what the project's going to look like and you close that deal. So you need to have a process for getting them on the phone. You're going to start the conversation. You're going to lead them towards, hey, we should actually hop on the phone and chat about this, or we should hop on Zoom and chat about this. Would you like to schedule a call? And so then you do this consultation call. You're going to qualify or disqualify them. Some of the people who might initially be interested may not be a good fit for what you want to do, or you may not be a good fit for them. And so it's a matter of figuring out on that call and in the conversation ahead of time, whether you feel like you're a fit. And then if you get all the way to the end of the call and you feel like you're a fit, then you can make that offer to them. And if you do want to go into that in more detail, remember that client getting blueprint that I mentioned at the beginning? Yeah, the client getting blueprint walks you through that in just a ton of detail, all the detail that you need to make all the right decisions and lay the foundation for a successful client business, including building this funnel to get prospective clients on the phone and reach out to them with successful cold email strategies. So check that out, and don't forget, your cold emails, they need to be short, personal, expecting reply, and intended to start a conversation with your ideal prospects such that you can continue that conversation to the point where you're able to suggest getting on the phone with that prospective client. And when you get on the phone with that prospective client, you can have a nice little conversation with them. You can figure out if it's going to work out to work together, and you can make an offer for your services. But all of that relies on that initial email, that cold email that you're going to reach out to them with, not trying to sell your services, but instead trying to start a human-to-human conversation. I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. And hey, even if you're selling one-to-one, that is a form of marketing and copywriting. And if you do this, it will work better. And so with every episode, I'm here trying to help you increase your marketing genius. And if you apply this, I think you'll realize just how great of a marketing genius you are. I'll see you again in the next episode. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.